Morning to listeners on Radio Bourgeois 98.1 across the country, and those following on the social media on my page and one or two other um, social media pages like CDN News and the Senate page. Thank you for the invitation. I'm here.
Great. Mr. Senator, often you are a vocal voice and very forward writing on issues of national concern, but it seems your pen has been leaking a lot of ink in recent days with what many would now consider as the Yeke Koruba soap opera. Just this morning, you talk about 10 lawyers who have different interpretations.
Interpretation could vary.
Of an issue of law that is in plain text. And that is why, by your argument, ultimately it is the Supreme Court's ruling that should be considered. Now, what does this say about the complexity of our legal system vis-a-vis the ongoing soap opera with Yeke Koruba, Representative Yeke Koruba?
Well, once again, thank you for the invitation. The President of Liberia, consistent with the authority granted the President by the Constitution and under the Constitution, recalled the legislature to a 10-day working special session to primarily authorize the printing of additional, not new currency, but additional Liberian dollar.
Okay.
79 billion. And to consider the passage of a supplemental budget of $45 million. And to act upon other matters of national emergency in the 10 days. It is very likely that the Senate will today hold public hearings with the Central Bank of Liberia to justify why the legislature should authorize the printing of additional Liberian banknotes in the volume of 79 billion, not million, 79 billion. That should double the current quantum of money printed since the founding of Liberia. Because in 2021, the legislature authorized the printing of 48 billion Liberian dollars. And that was, I think, the highest so far at the time. Should we authorize this request for 79 billion, in effect, will be like doubling that amount. That will be adding onto the 48 billion, even though some
Mutilated
have
already.
mutilated and discarded already. So today the Senate will be doing a public hearing, very likely with the Central Bank, and the Ways and Means Committee, jointly with the Public Accounts Committee of the Senate. They are doing committee work on the budget, the draft budget of $45 million. $45 million is in addition to the $1.2 billion budget that is already current. The President has made some requests in the draft budget for the $45 million. I, along with, I believe, most of my colleagues, we are more keen on what is projected for the Army.
Okay.
We are considering increasing the amount for the Army. When something happens to your country, in your country, there's always some good in some bad.
Yeah.
What is happening at the border with Liberia and Guinea is an eye-opener, should be a wake-up call for us in national leadership to come to the defense of the country. And so we have spoken among ourselves, and we are determined, and now, let me say hopefully, that this $45 million supplemental budget, the $600,000 projected for the Army for recruitment, we are concluding to increase that amount, hopefully to anything around $5 million.
It's a big leap.
The reason is because it's easier to call for recruitment of additional people in the Army. When you recruit people in the Army and enlist them or enroll them into the Army, they don't go back to their homes in the communities to live. Every one person you recruit in the Army, they go to the barrack. So that means we need to improve on the barracks and do additional housing projects. Even if we don't do all this here, while we're recruiting additional people, while they're undergoing the recruitment exercises, we should start to prepare the housing facilities for them. And I know for a fact that, and people who know, the strength of an army is not just the number of persons in the army. You can enlist everybody, the entire population of Liberia that is of age, enlist all of us in the army. If there is no logistics,
the sophistication of them.
forget it. And in this modern day and age, you need technology,
Right.
intelligence, your arsenal. Not a football team now.
I'm struggling.
Not a football team. The kind of weapons, military grade weapons that you have. How strong is your naval force? Do you have an air force? We are a country that don't even have a presidential jet. We don't even have a helicopter for our army, our police. You know, all these things. I know somebody following now. The first thing they will say, you reduce your pay. So we can borrow things. Everything that's shot in the country, the law make us pay. And you know, must be reduced to 75. I can understand that other aspect. But we gotta be serious. I wanted to lay this business angle so that people understand that these 10 days the president called us for, it's for serious matter. Most especially at the Senate. So we are considering the Army under this $45 million supplemental budget, meaning the $45 million added on the $1.2 billion budget that is already correct.
Now, you laid out very well in the interest of national defense and the interest of the Army. How informed is your proposal in the context?
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on location where you are joining us from. The extent would like to say welcome to BKS TV and welcome to the HITAL program here on BKS TV. On the HITAL, we say dialogue and not confrontation. We say words and not bullets. Today is the 21st of April, AD 2026. And of course, we are glad to be back on the HITAL program here again on BKS TV / BKS radio station in Butu and Voice of Tapata in Tapata City, Nima County. My name is Junior Payne, your regular host of the HITAL program here on BKS TV. On the HITAL, we say dialogue and not confrontation. We say words and not bullets. Let's bring you updates from across Liberia. But before we do that, our guest today is Mr. Isaac Cotto Jr. Mr. Isaac Cotto is the board chair of UNICO. He joined us here tonight on the show as we discuss UNICO and other national issues too as well. CEO, good evening, welcome. How you doing, Chief?
Good. We need to send you to some Geo name pronunciation class. My name is Isaac Cotto. You know, not Kotu.
My, my,
So,
you know, the Mano terrain, there where I grew up and did everything. So most of these dollars I try to twist it to the Mano side instead of me now to say Kato. I'm here saying Kato. But anyways, Mr. Kato, I'm sorry. Please do not hold me in contempt for mispronouncing your last name there. Again, it's great to have you on the show here, Vic Stevens. CEO. Welcome. Let's say what's on your mind before we bring on the guest.
yeah, it's been good. I'm excited to host my brother Isaac. He's a very young man who inspires a lot of people. Now he's the board chair of UNICO, a prominent organization in the U.S., a Liberian organization, and someone I'm very proud of his accomplishment. It's going to be a great conversation tonight, especially hosting him. But yeah, we were not here yesterday. We are here today. What's on my mind? I'm actually thinking about in the conversation we're about to have with this young leader, and also our upcoming uh, NIMBA Unity conversation that will be held on Sunday, where we will be having Honorable Musa Ability, Honorable Senator Samuel Koga. We'll have Honorable Councilor Garrison Yelu, Honorable Alexander Swa. Who else am I missing? The Honorable Doug Cooper and T Honorable T1OK. I mean, it's going to be packed. It's going to be very, very interesting. Having all these the giants, I would call them, of Nema County on the same platform, being able to get them together to agree to come on our platform and have a very fruitful discussion as it relates to NIMBA. I'm excited. I look forward to it. But tonight is Isaac's night, and we will be having a fruitful discussion with the chairman himself. So you're muted.
Thank you very much. See you again. We're looking forward to hosting Mr. Kato here tonight on the show. Let's bring you updates from across Liberia, 2 to 3 updates, and we'll bring on the guest. Representative Koto Quadri Electoral District 5 has officially launched construction work on the Gia Bridge located between Town and Bailey Town in Booyah District. The project, which commenced today, attracted thousands of residents from across the district, underscoring the importance of bridge to local communities. Okay, we'll bring you more updates on this story as the show unfolds here tonight. Let's try to go to another update here. Okay. The Central Bank of Liberia intends to print 79 billion Liberian dollar in new banknotes from 2026 to 2030 and is proposing a 2,000 Liberian dollar denomination as part of the exercise. Executive Governor Henry Simon disclosed to the Liberian Senate on Tuesday. Appearing on the Senate hearing, Simon said 14.7 billion will be printed in 2026 and the remaining 64.3 billion to be produced in the years that follow. Now, another major development here too. I think we currently have 500 note and that of 1,000 note. If I'm pretty clear, if I stand to be corrected on that, we have 500 note and that of 1,000 note. But with this new regulation, we are going to have 2,000 note. Now we are proceeding. Maybe we head into the Guinean currency. We head into the Ivorian currency. We head into the Sierra Leonean currency. I don't know what this means, but as we have our guest on here tonight, when he leaves, we might be able to discuss this conversation to us. From the world of sport, Chelsea is donating another goal to Brighton tonight. Very disheartening. Very, very much disheartening. See you if you are there, please.
I'm here. You can hear me? Looks like your thing is about to do what it usually does here. Looks like our guest is having some, not guest, of our host. You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, CEO. I'm not sure if that question was for me, but I can hear you.
Yeah, it was for the host. Usually he runs into these technical problems when we bring whenever we bring our guests on, but we'll leave that to the tech folks to work on. But welcome to the show, my brother.
Absolutely, CEO. Absolutely, it's good to be on. I'm a big fan of this show. I've been following you for a while now. You and of course our man DK and all the things you guys are doing. I've been following y'all for a very long time, so it's good to be on. Thanks for inviting me, even though I was gonna file a protest against that brother for calling me quarter, but no, but it's actually on a serious note. Though. One of the board members is
Mhm.
Will Quarto. One of our board
Okay.
members is Will Quarto. He's a good friend, and we always joke around. We always almost have the similar names, so it's all fun. I don't have an issue with that. But
You
thanks for
know,
having me on.
Thank you. We are glad to have you on. It's a pleasure for the platform. Having you on is something that we've been looking forward to. We've been working our way, right? We had to do it incrementally. There was no
Mhm.
way on God's earth we will host everyone else but the chairman himself. That would have been, a big blow. Junior, are you having some technical issues? Can you hear me? Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
welcome to the show. As you know, this is BKS TV, a platform that is owned and operated by Nimayans, folks like yourself. We do have our radio station locally in Nimba and Mutuo that relays this, and we also partner with Voice of Tapeta that relay this show. It's a great show. We have a lot of Nimayans, from different walks of life that come on here to have discussions when it comes to politics, humanitarian gesture, education. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So we are glad to have you on the show tonight, and we look forward to having our discussion. As you can see, or maybe if you will see a lot of folks are following from NIMBA, from the U.S. here, and we have conversation about everything. Now we also have the UNICO thing. You're the UNICO board chair. We got UNICO convention coming up. You've been to Liberia a couple of times. Just so much to discuss, and it's going to be a packed night here with a really great conversation. We stand to learn from you as well. So, Junior, before I proceed, can you hear us? Okay, cool. So, as we usually do, I know you. A lot of folks know you, but the old lady that Barclay there probably may not know you. She probably heard about you. So we usually ask our guests to introduce themselves and tell us where
Mhm.
you're from, who you are, what you do now. You don't have to go into the details. Your connection with Nimba, your current role, what it entails, and all that stuff.
Okay. Well, thank you, CEOs. Thank you. Again, I'm happy to have me on. I definitely appreciate the honor to appear here before you, even though you had Sam G before me, which is a different issue we'll discuss. But I said so. It's always good to be on here. And let me just before I go into introducing myself, and that is to thank you for having this platform to
Mhm.
where we could come to speak to our people back home and our people here too in the States. I really think this is a good thing that you are providing. It is a good service that is way of our people that are back home or around the country to come and listen to us and have conversations about topics that are germane to our people, things that are important and just to keep us abreast. I think that is definitely a good service that you are providing to our people. So again, CEO, let me congratulate you and your staff for making this platform available. I mean, I'm sure that as you guys grow, we it's going to become bigger and bigger and bigger, and you guys will continue to do what it is you do. And my hope and prayers for you is that this thing becomes a global platform. And
Right.
so like your vision, your mission of what you're trying to do, of trying to keep our people connected, could be something that expands even beyond your imagination. So that is my hope and prayer for you. So, and as a friend and brother, I wish you all the success in the world. Yeah, but by way of introduction, I think everyone can see that my name is Isaac Kato. It's Isaac Bonwoke Kato Jr. That's what the G in like my name stands for. And I
Mhm.
always put that junior in there because those that are from the Tapatan district area, which is the district that I'm from, know my father, Isaac Gonwoke Kato Sr. So I always put the junior in there as to not confuse the two of us, because some might say, "Oh, we thought Isaac passed during the war, and now he's here doing this interview." So I that's why I always make that distinction. But yes, I'm actually from the district, from the Tapatan district, in a little town between Gray and Tuatam called Swatoa. That is the town that I hail from. That is where, that's where both my parents are from. They're just from that small town. So that's why I tend to do like a lot of stuff from that town, because that is where like my roots are. And then of course it's spread all throughout the district and now all throughout the county. And so right now, as you stated, I'm the chairman for our organization, and that is UNICO. UNICO is the largest diaspora NEMA organization right now. As a matter of fact, in the States, if I could be biased, I'll probably say we are the most influential diaspora organization right now, just given our impact and some of the things that we're doing. But of course, people could accuse me of being biased in that, for having that point of view, but it is my point of view. So, and I also now work for the State Department. That is what I do. That is my main job. And then, of course, I do our organization stuff here on the side. And that is something that I take deep pride in doing as well. So again, it's good to be on your program.
Thank you, Junior. You can hear me? You want to comment, or you?
Go ahead, CU. I think I can co-host with you tonight.
Okay, so yeah, thank you. That is actually a great introduction there. I know the reason I kind of I'm interested in this interview is because you and I we have similarities when it comes to our history, our background. Both of our parents were killed during the Civil War, and we were both young when we came to this country, and we basically worked hard to get to where we are, and we've built the American dream. So that's what really connects me to you when it comes to when I hear your story, not from you directly, but from a lot of folks, DK and other folks. It just reminds me about myself, about Alvin, how I came here and what I have done to get to where I am, and how I tend to use my story to encourage a lot of folks. We'll talk about the UNICO, we'll talk about, everything else in between, but the story is inspiring, right? A young person coming from Liberia now, coming to this country, what would Isaac tell them, hey man, you're coming to this country. Here's the blueprint, what you should do and what you shouldn't do. How can a young person come and then try to be like you, follow your footsteps in a positive way? What would be your advice to all those young guys who are listening and watching you from the US and Liberia, who are, aspiring to be someone like Isaac Kato?
Okay. Well, my hope and dream for them is that they become better than Isaac, that they become better than Alvin, but it is definitely to stay focused, to definitely go to school, get that education. I believe it is important. I was fortunate to do my middle school, high school, and college. I'm like on their side. So, but just coming in now, I would definitely say go and get that education. I mean, that would be that would be like the blueprint. Go and get that education. And stay focused. Definitely stay focused. Don't try to compete with everybody, because I think that's where people get off track, if you will, in that they come here and they see what others are doing, and I'm not sure if they become envious or whatever it is. I mean, you could emulate a person, that is great, but don't be so jealous of a person, who may be on step 10 where you are just on step 1. That person had to start somewhere too to get to where they need to be. So to come and compare someone level 10 to your level 1, I see that all the time, and I think it is a mistake. So, but just start where you are. Definitely be focused. Go to school and get your education. And you are coming here. We all have that. We all have that passion. We all have that dream. So something is driving you. Something is giving you that passion. Follow that inside voice that is speaking to you. Let that voice be your guide, and it will direct you. Like all along the way. My story actually was something that motivated me all throughout. because it was always this fear of failure. Because
Mhm.
if I fail, I just didn't fail. But if I fail, then I think my whole generation would have failed. Just, I mean, like just from that sense, because I was the first one from my family to actually come abroad, and I was able to come because my uncle brought me in the '90s. We came as refugees, and so there was always that in my mind. There was always that viewpoint, or always that mindset that because my entire generation, I mean, there was, I mean, a lot of folks, not to
Mhm.
get personal, but a lot of folks from my family were wiped out during the war.
I heard
So
that. I
yeah,
heard that.
yeah, they were. So I always, and of course, I mean, like you like me or like me, and I know this, but I'm a Lutheran survivor. I was
Mhm.
in that church during that massacre, so, and I just got spared, not because of anything important that I did. It's just because I was one of the lucky ones. So I always keep that in mind, because there were some 4 or 5 years old too that stayed in there. So there was nothing special about me. So I always keep that in mind. It's always like in the back of my mind that you were spared for a reason. So that is something that has always been like a driving force, and it has driven me to do some other stuff, especially now that I'm in a place to like give back. That's why we do like the scholarship drives. That's why we do like the food drive and so forth. And that's why I'm now going back as often as I could to try to go and give back. Yeah, because I just feel that that is something that maybe I was I'm like spared to do. So
Yeah,
that's
we,
my
we'll,
view.
we'll, we'll talk. We'll talk about that going back there. There is so much we'll discuss when it comes to that. That going back, I got a lot of questions for you. But sticking with the Lutheran thing, my father, who was also killed during the war, at the same time, we were right across from the Lutheran church. That was in the Methodist church. I think that's what it's called. So
Yeah.
we were fortunate enough to not be in the Lutheran church. So it was the day after the that terrible event. That's when we moved to the other part. So we were there. We were not too far from it. So I can relate to that in some sense. Hey, man. So it's a tough thing. I know for me, I did the same thing. I used mine as a source of motivation, right? So they killed my dad during the war, and I was young, very young when that happened. And when we grew up in a refugee camp, spent almost 10, 12 years there before coming to the US. And I always had something, what can I do to pay back, but pay back in a positive way. Pay back in a way that my dad's name is not going to be lost forever. That's how we got this BKS TV. BKS Foundation, actually the BKS initial there is my late father's initials.
Okay.
Benjamin Carmon Sekar, right? So, so that's why when I see you going back, when I see what you're doing now, it encourages me. I applaud the fact that you are doing that, because that's the only way we can keep their memory alive, and it's never too late. And I can tell you for sure that your dad and other folks will be in heaven watching, looking, and being happy and smiling at what you do. Now, so that's that part. Now let's go to Unico, man. So what's going on with Unico? I know I met you in Indiana, when we met there at the event,
Mhm.
and I was supposed to attend the event, but I didn't go to vote because you and my cousin, Cole was my cousin. You guys were going, doing your thing. How has things been now since you took over? Uh, how has Unico been? You're a board chair now. How's everything going?
Oh man, things are going well. Things are going well with the organization. I think this organization, and I'm not just saying this, but I think this organization is stronger than ever. I mean, the membership continues to skyrocket every single year. More and more people are getting involved. Right now, we have 15 active chapters, but there are some chapters that we're trying to revive and bring back. For example, like my old chapter in Texas. That's
Okay.
that's a Texas. I mean, that's a chapter that Charles and those guys there, they've been trying to work to bring back the chapter in North Carolina. We're trying working with Ms. Dewatose to try to bring that chapter alive. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on. Of course, our chapter in Indiana. As a matter of fact, you guys invited me to be a guest speaker.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, you guys invited me to be a guest speaker last year. Yeah, so that was where we met for the first time, and of course that was hard. I mean, you want to talk about the heat hour? That was a real heat hour last year during that campaign, and that campaign was it was a tough campaign. I mean, no doubt about it. It was a tough campaign, but I think it was a good campaign because it brought a lot of. Everything that happens have like it both good and the bad stuff.
Right.
But I mean, the good thing that came out of that campaign is the fact that it brought a lot of publicity to the organization. Because I was back, I was in Liberia, like a month and a half after the election. And I was so amazed how many people back home in Nima were following this thing.
Right.
So I was like, wow, I was like, so many people were interested. Oh, so now you the Isaac Carter guy, huh? Yes, I'm the Isaac Carter guy, and so forth. But things are going well. Of course, as you know, the Women Empowerment Center. Our goal is to hopefully have that dedicated next year. Our man George Flomo is our project director. George has been doing a very, very good job with that. He and his team. I mean, they're just doing an incredible job with that, and our goal is to have that dedicated next year. And of course, when that is said and done, some of the programs that we are going to run out of there for the people back home, I mean, it is going to be a great thing, and that's why George is working so hard to try to build partnerships. And we that are here, like I'm like on the board side or on the executive and like the membership in general, we're all working to make sure that is a fruitful endeavor. Because that is something where a lot of funds have gone into that, a lot of sacrifices have been made. So that is, so that aspect is going very well. And of course, as a matter of fact, we're not going. We are in another election cycle to like elect a new president, a new VP, and pretty much like a new core of officers. So that process we are going through as well.
Do you have a candidate? Do you have a?
Oh, I'm the board chairman, so I'm 100% neutral. I am 100% neutral, absolutely, and we have to be that way. I mean, here's the thing, though, Alvin. I'm sure like you know this too, but especially like when it comes to the presidents, right? I know every single one of them. Single one of them, and I have a relationship with all three of them. Of course, the VP and I mean, just given our current positions now, we work close together. And the former president Ben Gone from like North Dakota, he was a very effective president in his chapter, and he definitely helped bring that chapter to life. So you have to give Van Gogh, you have to give him like credit for what he did. He did do a good job over there. And then Mrs. Yatonga Bumley, our former president in Ohio, she has been doing a lot of stuff back home as well, and helping our people a lot. So you have really, really three outstanding candidates. That's why I don't think we could go wrong with whatever choice that is made. Of course, I'm going to remain 100% neutral, but I mean we can't go wrong either way, because I just think we have outstanding people that are running. And I'll tell you a little funny story, right? Because I know all of them. And when this campaign started, I thought about maybe I would just donate to all three of them and then go ahead and sit down. But if the board's to remain neutral, once I make a donation, even if it is across the board, then I'm not neutral anymore.
No, you're not. You've already taken a side.
Yes. So that is something I've been very, very mindful of. And then when it comes to like the VP spot, I mean, look at DK. DK is my brother, and I love the guy. And then you go to Dr. V. Dr. V is another brother, and I love the guy. And Mr. Parker Don, and then Stanley Gates. So we have all these good people that are just running. I'm like across the board. So from like a personal standpoint, it is a difficult place to be.
Speaking of the devil.
I'm surprised he's not dancing today or eating his GB somewhere.
Yeah, speaking of the devil, he just show up.
Yeah, but it is just really good to be there. But to answer your question, I am gonna stay neutral, and not just because I want to, but because that's what our Constitution demands, and for the sake of fairness too. You cannot have the board chairman weighing in to like skill the table like one way or the other.
because these are all people I will have to work with once the election is over. So that's the important thing to have. But I'm just telling you, man. I mean, like you know this too, that our organization is very, very blessed to have these folks that are running now to lead us, and I'm looking forward to working with them.
Thank you. Welcome to the show, Siawate and DK. I know it was going to be you and I, a little one-on-one, but those guys are about to spoil the party. Before we go to them, though, and this is not a question. So I don't know the relationship, how close you are with the current leadership, but we had the president on here, and he had a different take on the other three aspirants, right? We asked him who you vote for and who are you, going with, and he said, well, he's going to support his VP. And I think someone asked him, what if your VP were not running, right? What would be your? He said, well, I don't think we would have gone anyway. I would have been neutral. I would have remained neutral because we don't want to struggle, work hard for our this organization, and then have someone, and then hand it to, again, I'm paraphrasing here, right? Hand it to leadership that will not do the right thing. So basically, he doubted other guys, unlike you, who have confidence in all three of them. But that's besides the point. So here's my other question to you before we go to the other guys here. The election, the board chairman election, that's one of the reasons why I'm going to be the first time voter this year, because of how much, like you guys did, the work you put into it, seeing a young guy like yourself, DK, George, and everyone that encouraged folks like me to also be part of it. Now, but that election was very tough. As you know, it was very difficult, divisive, and people went at it, right? And up to today, from what I heard, there are some folks are not even talking. So UNICO should be about unity, right? Uniting Nimba folks. And you are the board chair. You won a very hard-fought election. What have you done, or what are you doing so far to bring people together when it comes to unity after election?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a very good question, Alvin. And you are absolutely right. I mean, last year election was very, very tough. And some people might say it was even toxic. Some people might even say that. I mean, let's just be honest. Let's just call it what it is, with the personal attacks and like all the stuff that went on. And I should know, because I was attacked more than anybody else with my credentials and everything being falsely accused and all of that other stuff. So some of the stuff we've done this year, if you will notice, if you've been following this campaign, even though it is a tough campaign, but you will notice that the level of professionalism is quite different. You will notice that the personal attacks are drastically low or lower than what they were last year. Going after people in like such a personal manner, all of those things are low this year, and that was not by an accident, because we put that board chaperone policy in place, and that policy sets the guidelines of how we should deal with each other, realizing that when this campaign is over, we are all going to come back and work as one entity, because that is who we are. I mean, everybody knows everybody. Right. People that are brothers and sisters and intermarriages and friendship. I mean, last year I had people that I've known for 10, 15 years attacking me as if I was a stranger. I'm like, what the heck? Man, we grew up together.
That's Nimba for you, brother. That's Nimba.
Weird things were happening. People that were your friends 2 months before the election, now they saying all of these things. But everybody understood it was campaign. But just because it is campaign, you just can't go out there and just make it a point to personally try to character assassinate a person, and then say once the campaign is over, we'll like all come back and hold hands and sing Kumbaya and all this other stuff. So the chat room policy is definitely in place to help to like bring some of this down. And number two, if you take a look at the election guidelines, a lot of things in that guidelines were intentional. Like the no personal attacks and all of these other stuff that people witnessed last year. And not just me. I mean, these were feedback that we got from board members, from people in the organization, people in the community, some of the elders that were watching this. And the thing about the elders, a lot of people may or may not know this, is they may not be active in the chat room, but they're very active behind the scene trying to calm things down, try to keep things at a at like a level playing field. So just really trying to do that. So those are some of the policies that we put in place. Now, from like a personal standpoint, one of the things that I did, of course, I reached out to almost all of the people from the other side who were, I'm like doing a campaign, and we spoke right after the event was over. But Moses, who was the VP for like code, who was the vice chair for code, I actually appointed Mo as the Secretary General on the board. So now Mo is part of our leadership, and of course, Mo is a good friend. So we work hand in hand. So even though the campaign went on and people said whatever they had to say, when that stuff was all said and done, we are now working together and working along just fine. And some of the other guys that were, that may have been on the other side, that line of communication is open. People are free to call whenever. I'm not gonna lie, doing a campaign when things were so heated and some of the personal attacks were going on, I did block some people. Just so I could have a clearer mindset. Because things were things were just happening that were so strange. People that you told were your friends, and they would just attack you relentlessly. So just to have that clear mindset, I did block some people. I'm not gonna lie about that. But by the time June or July rolled around, and this was before I even got sworn in, all of that stuff, time.
You went back to your blacklist and.
No, I just went back and I just unblocked that whole thing. That stuff was over now. So yeah, so that's how I'm seeing it. But to your point, though, people heal differently at different times, and that is true. And I'm not gonna lie and say some of those things that happened last year has not had an impact on some of our chapters, and those are things that we are working on. To try to bridge those divide. And realize that we are, we're still the same organization, and we're still the same people. We're still working on the same goal. We're still there for the same county. So let's put some of that stuff behind and just move forward. Yeah, but we have put things in place, put guardrail in place to make sure people don't go overboard like we did last year, not to try to break whatever piece it is that we're trying to have in this organization.
Thank you so much. I will turn it over to the other guys so they can ask questions. Next time I'll bring you back on here. You will have a one-on-one with the CEO, and then we'll have our own section and just have our discussion.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you very much, CEO, and let's welcome once again Mr. Isaac to the show. Chairman Isaac, welcome. Let's take you to the heat of the conversation. You spoke of Constitution right now, that the Unico Constitution or the Board Constitution does not allow you to take side. I'm told that one of your board members is actively campaigning for a candidate. How true is this information, and how has the board addressed this information too as well? Do you care to tell the public?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely tell the public. And it is not a secret. It is not a secret at all. And you're right. A board member did from the very beginning told me that he was going to be active in this campaign. He did say that. And as the campaign started, he was very active. And as a matter of fact, he was active, and he and I had a conversation that, if this campaign starts and you become real too active, you will have to recuse yourself from any and everything that comes to the board. So he and I had that conversation, and we came to that agreement that if anything came to the board that had to do with the election, he would have to recuse himself. And it is just not him. There's a board member that has an inherent conflict, and he and I have already had that conversation. So if anything comes to the board, he will be automatically recused. And that is to say, he's not even going to be part of the conference. Not just that he's not going to have an input, but if you're recused from something, you're not even going to be able to sit in on those meetings, because you may say, "Oh, I'm just sitting in. I'm not going to say anything." Yeah, but you could hear what is being said and then go around and or go out and talk about it. Not that we are questioning anybody's integrity, but just for the sake of transparency, that conversation has been had, and that board member knows he's not going to be part of any conversation. And that was the particular case with this particular board member that we had. that we still have. But when the campaign started, he did become very active, and he's a very active guy. Let's give him credit for that. He's a very active guy, and he's an outspoken guy, and like he speaks his own. He speaks his truth, and like he speaks his mind, as most board members do. But he is upfront with which is his right to do, and I don't have an issue with that. But when it was having an impact on the board, he voluntarily came to me and say, Chairman, just to not taint the board, and just to not have people misconstrue what I'm doing as the board doing this, I'm asking you for like a leave of absence, to take a leave of absence from the board for me to go out there and campaign, because I want to campaign. I want to be active in this. And when this is all said and done, I'll like come back to the board, but I'm asking for this leave of absence. And I did approve that leave of absence. And in retrospect, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. So when I had conversation with other board members who like brought that to my attention, I did go back, and during our board meeting, I told the board that in retrospect, that was a mistake, and I probably shouldn't have done that, even though it was voluntary. I shouldn't have done that because it puts a board member in direct, even though you could go ahead and try to like interpret the Constitution differently, but the intent is very clear. So as the board, we had that discussion. So I did go ahead and I revoked that leave of absence. So that board member is now back on the board, and he is no longer actively campaigning. So that's the truth of that matter. That yes, he did after that leave of absence, and it was my error, or I erred because I was trying to be too cautious to protect the board, and in doing so, I put the board in a situation where we had an active member out there campaigning, but I was stopping other board members from doing so. So it appears, and especially now that we have a new board policy in place, if I would have just allowed that person to continue campaigning, then what about the other 31 board members that this new policy applies to? So that's why I really didn't have any choice, and the board decided that the leave of absence that we revoke that leave of absence, and this was a near unanimous decision. So I took the action to revoke that leave of absence, and the board member is now back on the board, and we're all doing board stuff, and he has stopped campaigning actively.
So what you're telling the NEMA people tonight is that this board member that was actively campaigning is no longer campaigning again.
That is absolutely 100% correct.
Now, this leads me to my.
And let me just say this now. And we have a policy in place now that specifically spells this out. And it is in place that if a board member were to go out there and campaign in an election, let's just make this clear, in an election that is not a board election, because if it's a board election, then that's a different thing. But if he participates in an election that is not, or he or she participates in an election that is not a board election, the first time that is brought to our attention or brought to my attention, or we are made aware of it, the leadership, meaning me and my and like the core leaders, we will notify that person via a letter that, hey, chief, or hey, madam, you are doing this. Please cease from doing so. Here's the board policies that spares that out. If they were to disregard, oh, and by the way, I'm like a copy of this letter is going to go to that chapter because board members represent that chapter. So we'll give you that letter, and we'll also send a copy to your chapter so your chapter is aware that you've been put on notice. And if that were to continue, then you will be suspended for 45 days. And during that 45-day suspension, you will have to cease all campaign activities. And if you were to then violate that, then you will be expelled from the board.
Thank you. Now, the board member that was campaigning, you guys have reinstated that person. They are fully on the board. So this means that any other issue that comes to the board, this person will be eligible or qualified to participate in board decision making. Am I correct?
Now, not if it pertains to the election. If it pertains to the election, that person will have to recuse themselves. That is because before the approval was given, they have already been made aware that if they campaign at all, and this was before the approval, they will be recused from all board election activities. This is a conversation that this person and I have had. So he is absolutely 100% aware that anything that comes to the board that regards this election, he will not be taking part in that. He could participate in other board discussion, but just not anything that pertains to this election.
Thank you. Because I had a lot of questions on that. Thankfully, you answered them successfully. And this lead me to the next question. Now that the Constitution, one may say your Constitution does not guarantee one to say do not participate in electoral matters. The Constitution leaves that space blank. It is silent on it. It doesn't stop the board members from participating in any other election matter. But your rules say you cannot do so. What if a board member single that out and say, you are depriving me of my constitutional right to campaign for my candidate?
Well, you cannot say that because the Constitution also gives the board the authority to set its own policy. So the same Constitution, and if you read section 5.9, by the way, because that's a section that you're talking about, if you read section 5.9, the intent of section 5.9 is specifically clear. And there's a history behind that puts the board in this position for us to remain and maintain our neutrality. It is very clear on that. But the same Constitution that you're referring to also gives the board the authority to set its own policy, which is not against the Constitution. So the Constitution sets the general rules that we all have to fall within. But within that Constitution, the board, as with any other organization, does give the board the authority to set its own policy. And there's no policy that just went in place 2 Wednesdays ago. Is very, very clear on that. So it is not a contradiction at all. It is 100% in line with the Constitution.
Thank you very much. We have with us Mr. Isaac Catto Jr. with us here tonight. He is the chairman of UNICO. He joined us to discuss UNICO, Liberia, and the rest of the world. We're going to be touching every single thing tonight before we let him go. So I would say welcome to the show. It's 9 minutes up to 9 o'clock in Liberia, 9 up to 9. Takbok Kato is watching us this evening. George Kanye or Kanyak before they see you home in content. Mario Kroma is also watching us. Yelesef Va is following us this evening. G. Ibrahim Nyanzi is also watching us this evening. You guys are welcome to the show. Please help us to share with other people. Siawate, let's hear you. Your chairman is here.
Good evening, Jim. Good evening to Honorable Kato. Sorry. Chairman Kato, good evening.
Good evening, Chief. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Good to be here as well.
Yeah. I don't know whether sorry I came late, but I don't know whether they asked my question, but I just wanted to know, the CEO, whether the CEO or Jion ask you, many times when we are having the kind of conversation like we did to previous, UNICO leaders from Dan Dennis, Dan Dennis to the current president and Mr. Flomo. Sometimes we like to ask them just the common question. Sometimes it's common, but it's good it's good for our people because you're being aired across NIMBA. So I wanted to know whether, before asking you, why you laughing, CEO?
Okay, what duplicate question? My man finish asking that question. You answer that question.
Eh?
Why
Which question?
Why question?
Yeah, so recent, I think last year, the Bo election was actually, I can say, one of the era attraction when it comes to UNICO election, and we saw the attendance and the politics, the real NIMA politics playing, where we saw you, winning the election. I know CEO have asked some of the questions, but at this time, I wanted to know the structure of the Bo, the role the Bo is playing currently when they say UNICO Bo. I don't know why. For me, I don't know. And the common people listening, I don't know whether the CEO asked the question, but they hear your name, Chairman Isaac Catto. I know you've been in Liberia, I know 2 or 3 times now, and people hear the name chairman, Chairman Kato, and the rest of the folks. So I really wanted to know what's the function of the board in UNICO. I know board role is there that globally people know, but in organization like UNICO, what's the role? And your specific role as a chairman.
Well, that's a good question there. See how I mean, you are part of this organization, so you see some of the work that the board has been doing. I mean, the board is very, very active. The board is very active, and that's why you see people now fighting to get on the board. I'm not sure if the interest used to be that high, but you see a lot of people fighting now to be on the board because people realize the board is very active. The board is asserting its authority in where we should assert our authority, and of course, the role of the board chairman and that of the president are two different things. Yeah, especially in every organization, you have the chairman or the executive who do the day-to-day running of the organization, and then you have the board that oversees all of that, that sets the policy, that sets the policy, that sets the guidelines, and do all of those things that the executive carries. So our role is really to be there, to be like the guardrail for this organization, make sure the organization stays on track. Right before you came in, the CEO actually asked, what are some, going back to the election from last year, and I'm sure you were a part of that, or at least you saw some of the stuff that happened during that election. What are some of the stuff that the board has done to make sure that we don't have a repeat of that? And as you could tell, this year, the tone and the tenor of this election is very, very different. And it was because the board played a key role in doing that. And of course, whenever we have our board meetings, this message is given out to all board members as well, so they are kept aware. And one of the first things that we did, especially when I took office in October, was that we have requested that full financial report from the executive. And this was not just the quarterly or like yearly report that was given. This was a complete auditing of our books by our finance committee on the board from 2022 to 2025. So we have an entire 3 years period where we audited the entire thing. And that was done by the board. The chat room policy that we are all benefiting from today was done by the board. The Constitution that is being revised, because the Constitution was written in 2010 and adopted in 2011. And since that time, a lot has changed. This organization has grown drastically, which is a good thing. But with the organization growth and everything that comes into play, our Constitution has some areas in there that needs to be updated, if you will. And we as the board are doing our updating now. And it is going to be going out to the chapters so we could seek their input. So that's what is board working on. The board is also working on a financial policy as we speak that is going to mandate or set in place. Here's a policy. If something happened to a person, for example, this is what we're going to do. If the president or the executive have to travel to Liberia, these are the things that are going to be done. Before any money goes out, these are the things that are going to be done. Because right now, as it currently exists, we don't really have a financial policy in place that really guides, for example, if a death were to occur, what is the chapter supposed to do, or what is the national supposed to do? We don't have that in place. And that is something that the board is currently working on now. And lastly, as we get ready to come to this convention, the board is also working on some policy that we are going to put on the floor. One of them is going to involve how frequently we go to Liberia and so forth. So these are all the things that the board is working and putting in place to make sure that this organization continue to run effectively. And we are even contemplating the fact of maybe one day taking a convention to Liberia. So these are all the things that the board is working on. The board is working on like a lot of stuff behind the scene. And also board members now, because you have the national board, but individual board members at their local level are very, very engaged. And sometimes when there's a transition to where there's not a president and so forth, I'm like, board members have stepped in to take that over. We have seen that in several chapters where board members have played a role, very, very active role in trying to come in and deal with issues and come in and settle differences and come in and pretty much keep the organization running smoothly. And I think that is very, very critical And the board is very, very active, and I might say very, very visible than we used to be. And that is a good thing for this organization.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for. Before going to the next question, during the election, were you part of a team? Did you build a team, right?
Well, last year?
Yeah.
Yes. Last year. Even though, as you know, our constitution gave us the option to form a team, but each candidate is voted on separately. So last year I ran with Madam D. Luogon from the state of North Dakota. Yes, she was the team member, if you will, that I partner with. But the Constitution still gave us the option, or the Constitution allows each member to go with or without a team. But yes, I did go with a team last year, and that was me and Madam Luogon.
So is the team being dissolved?
No, I mean, once you get elected, I mean, it is a board. I mean, it was just a 2-member team. It's just a chairman and vice chair. So we continue to work together. I mean, we're not in campaign mode anymore, but we continue to work together, and we have a great working relationship, and we do everything together.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in formulating our team, the reason I'm asking whether anyone from your team may be contesting in this election, that's what I'm asking.
No, it was only a 2-member team. It was only a 2-member team as far as team members are concerned.
Yeah.
Now we have people who supported us. We have people who supported us from on different chapters and so forth. Absolutely.
Okay. You know, when the current president appeared on this platform, I asked him the last time, he was very definite about his role in this election. I think the CEO passed on that. But I just wanted to bring you as a policy maker for the institution to bring this to your attention, because I think I overheard you saying you are neutral in this election because of your role, and others who are also part of the board. But, you know, some of us, we are just new to UNICO. And I think for the first time, I'll be casting my ballot. But we have seen some of the things that are going on, but I just wanted to hear from you with your little experience in the organization. The council have experienced internal tension, but do you believe leadership or the board has contributed to this tension too as well? Because the reason I say this is, for example, I know the president or any leaders within UNICO has, the fundamental right or the constitutional right to support a candidate. But now this thing, it only apply to you as board member. But then the president came the last time, he definitely made his position that he's supporting a candidate. He's being a sitting president. So I wanted to know, this is why I'm asking you this question. Do you think these factors also help to create tension within the institution?
And that is whether or not the president can endorse a person? Is that the question? I'm just trying to make sure that I understand the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It only apply to you, but it don't apply to the executives.
Well, and yeah, I mean, and if you look at it, we play different roles. If there's a protest or if there's a grievance filed in this election, it is not going to go to the president. It is going to come to the board. So we are playing different roles. And of course, every administration or every president, if you will, wants his or her VP to succeed them because they've been working together. So they want that person to succeed them. So that is, in my view, that is perfectly fine that a president will play a different role, but the board chairman doesn't play that role. And I mean, like, I guess a way to look at it is one is a Supreme Court justice, or I mean, one is a chief justice, and the other is the president. Two completely different roles. One carries out the activities, and one hears and preside over the activities. I can't go out there and endorse a candidate, because if I go out there and I endorse a candidate and support a candidate, what's going to happen whenever something comes to the board? Now you're going to have a chairman who has to sit this out. So what happens if the vice chair also goes out there and support a candidate? Now she's out. What if the secretary goes out and support a candidate? Now he's out. And that was one of the reasons why we revoked that leave of absence. Because what if all board members decide to take a leave of absence to go campaign? Now your entire board is dissolved. So what's going to happen when matters arise to where it now have to be heard? You won't have people to hear that. But a president who is doing his day-to-day activities doesn't get to sit in on like policy discussion. So those are two completely different roles. Now let's take it now. Let's just get out of the executive election and now take it to a board election. If in the next 3 years from now or 6 years from now, if I win a re-election, I decide that I'm constitutionally banned to run for like a third term, I could then support my vice chair, because we as board members are allowed to participate in board's election, but we cannot participate in executive elections because we are the one that oversees the executive election. So that's where that inherent conflict lies. That's why the Constitution allows board members to participate in their own election, but not in elections matters that they will have to hear, because you cannot have the referee out there with the other team jersey on. So, but the president is already on that team. So the fact that he wears the jersey is really not that of an issue, because he is not the referee. We are the referees. And that's why we don't wear team jerseys.
Thank you. Maybe this will be my last question for the first round. The last time you, the president, and the project manager and other folks went to Liberia, and we witnessed you, and there were other Rick Monroe in the chat room about your trip to Liberia, how it was not sanctioned and you guys left and all of that. That's one. The second one, I know every achievement in this government, whether the project, whatsoever achievement or the achievement and the missteps, I know you all will take the glory or so. But do you believe in the current administration? Do you support continuity with the milestone you have now?
Well,
do you believe the current leadership deserves continuity?
I cannot answer that question, Chief, because by answering that question, it may be a direct endorsement. So I cannot answer that question. So I'll skip that question.
How do you assess the current administration?
Well, I mean, people can make their. I mean, I have my own personal view of how things are going, but being in the middle of an election now.
But you are doing a check and balance, though.
Yes, I'm doing a check and balance, which is very important. Why I cannot weigh in on something that will have an impact on this election. Because if I come out and say this administration is doing great, people will take that and twist it around. If I come out and say this administration is doing terrible, people will take that and twist it around. And if I come out and say this administration should be completely dissolved, people will take that and turn it around. Or if I say they should be completely reelected, they will take it and turn it around. So anything that I say that may be viewed as an endorsement, I'm not going to do, Chief, because I have to maintain that neutrality. But let me answer your other question. I mean, let me answer the question that like you first started with, which was this trip to Liberia. This trip to Liberia is actually funny because in a board chat room, before I left, I notified the board members that I was going to Liberia. Of course, I don't need their permission, and none of us need anybody's I'm not permission to go to Liberia. But in my position as the chairman of the board, I did notify my board that I was going to be going to Liberia. I was going to be doing some of my personal charity work, which I do every year, and then I was going to go on a county tour, and that county tour was what we were doing. So that one the board already knew of, and my vice chair, she is currently in Liberia right now, and the board is aware of that. So when I was leaving, I left the Secretary General in charge of the board that, he is going to head the meetings, but he's going to be in constant conversation with me because, I mean, at that time, it was something like a 5 hours or like 4 hours difference. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I was going to the moon or anything like that. So we were going to be in constant communication while I was in Liberia, but that he was going to lead any like board meetings that comes up, and we're going to be communicating. So we did have that conversation, and like the board members were aware. What they took issue with was the fact that when the president was leaving, he did not communicate something similar to the general body. And I think that's a fair topic to raise.
Thank you.
Thank you. CEO, welcome. Let's go over to you for the second
Yeah,
round.
you hear? You staggered. Thank you so much, Shote. Thanks for that. You're trying to make the chairman endorse.
I know, right? So CRT was up to something there, but I'm not falling for that trick. I'm not falling for it.
Man, well, you bring his LIB politics here, trying to shove it up. But again, thanks to it's a great conversation. We are enjoying it. As you can see in the comment section, a lot of folks are interested in this discourse, and we want to say thank you so much for coming. Taking up your time and being here tonight. Before I go to my other question, you did mention the Constitution. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Constitution was written in 2010.
Yes, I believe it was written in 2010, but it was adopted in 2011. That's
so
why
all
you
the
see
time,
date on this,
the old
2011.
folks were running the organization from 1979. There was no Constitution.
No, there was a constitution in place. I'm just talking about the revised constitution that we are running off of now. There have always been a constitution, but the revised that we are operating from now, which is in place now, is from 2011.
Okay, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I was like, no, there's no way. Because I know those old men, they were
No. There has always been a constitution. There has always been there has always been that.
Okay, I see. So we are going for the convention in May next month. What's your assessment? What do you expect? What's your expectation? What's your hope for this whole this convention? What do you plan to see and achieve from this convention?
Okay. Well, I'm actually in constant conversation with the senior board member from Iowa, that is Honorable Jenkins Zawiya, and Honorable Zawiya has assured me on multiple occasions, because we just approved the budget for that convention, and Honorable Zawiya has personally assured me that we are going to get in excess of 1,000 people, and if we do that, because last year I believe we had 940 people who registered. And Honorable Zawiya has assured me on multiple occasions now that we are going to surpass that number. And that would be outstanding. If we did that, that would be incredibly outstanding, because I want that place to be packed. And because I'm aware of this, since I was copied on the letters and I was copied on some of the emails, have sent out invitations to some leaders back in Liberia, and we have invited them to come and join us as well. And if they all come, our convention is just going to be an exciting place to be. And if you're a NEMA citizen, or if you're just a citizen from Liberia, we encouraging you to be in Iowa, because it is going to be epic. It is going to be epic. It is going to be grand. And you're going to have people coming together from back home and from everywhere, just meeting up to have a good time. Of course, like the election is going to be there, but this is our time just for us to gather as friends, as people, and come together and really just celebrate our organization and our oneness. So that is something that I'm definitely encouraging all members to please make their way to Iowa. I'm like the third week in May, because you don't want to be told, you want to be there for yourself.
You want to be there. No one's going to tell me that. I'll be front row. COT and I will be the front row. You are a young man. You came into UNICO, and some of the reasons why you are seeing all these excitement about UNICO is because of young people like you, picking up the mantle from our forefathers, our parents, and then running this institution. And obviously, we don't want the institution to remain as is, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, or maybe doing some things that our parents did back in the days. We want to change things. We want to see growth, like in any other organization. What's your vision for this organization when all is said and done, and Honorable Cocteau, is no longer a board chair? What do you want to be remembered for, and what do you want to see UNICO as far as this was your mark? When Isaac was here, this is what he did.
Okay. Well, just as you said, my mark is to say in 2031, because that is when my board chairmanship over, even though some may want it to end in 2028. What is not going to happen is
Breaking news, the chairman will be contested.
it's going to end in 2031. When it is over in 2031, after 6 years, I want it to be said that we left the organization better than we found it. Because when this organization started back in 1979, it was just a student organization. You just had some college guys coming together as a place, and it was mostly like on the East Coast, Georgia and Philadelphia. Just college guys coming together to form an organization because they were missing home and they were trying to bring something together here. Now you look at their vision and how that has expanded. This organization is not the same as it was in 1979. It is not the same as it was in 1989, 1999, or 2009 for that matter. That is because everything has to grow. There has to be growth. If to say in 2031, we are where we are now, that would be a huge disappointment because that would mean we haven't grown. And every organization has to have growth. I want, by the time our time is done, or in 20 years from now, for people to look at us, or for us, because we will be like the, I guess some of the wise one then, we might start entering the, I'm like the elder zone. They might start calling us elders or whatever. 20, 30 years from now, when they start calling us elders, we want to be able to look back and say, you know what, this was what we did. But now that these young people have it, I'm glad that they are doing this. Just like how some of the elders from 1999 look at us now and they see where this organization is going. And they say, yeah, this was what we thought of, but we couldn't take it there. So I'm glad that these guys are taking it there. So I just want us in our role, in our time here, because like that famous saying, I mean, all man has a role or like whatever to play, so once we are playing our role, that 30 years from now, those young kids that are going to be leading this organization can look back and say, you know what, those guys in 2026, they were not perfect, but what they did has helped to guide us to be where we are today. So I definitely want 30 years from now for people to look at this organization and say, wow, this organization has completely changed since 2026. And if that happened, that would be a great thing. Just like how when we sit here and like we look at how things were back in 1947, back in 1979, and saying, yeah, this has changed. I want those young kids when like we become elders 30 years from now to take a look at us and say, you know what? Yeah, those guys in 2026 did a good thing, but because of what they did, that is why we're able to do this.
Thank you. And this is my last question, I promise. I'll bring you back on here and we'll have our little one-on-one and educational, maybe, something where we try to inspire young people. I see one of your guys there, Rick Van Gogh. He said he has questions for you, but if you have questions for the chairman, type it or call. We got a number.
We'll get a call session. People want to interact with the chairman.
Of course, why not? I want to hear from my people. Absolutely.
UNICO historically, not everybody historically has been a stepping stone for future political, job and stuff in Liberia for folks, for Nimayans, right? I mean, I can't even give you the list. A lot of which is a good thing, right? Something that we all encourage and we want to do, because we want to leave from here with our expertise and our experience to be able to build Liberia. We're going to build Liberia, build Nimba County. We have to rely on folks who have been able to travel outside of the country, learn, and then have the real world experience. So some may ask you, you are UNICO board chair now. What's your take on Liberia? Do you have any plans for Liberia? Be it, I know I see you doing your stuff there, the humanitarian thing. I too do it, right? And I get asked this question a lot. So no offense here, or no pun intended. I'm there with you. So I think actually I'm the right person to ask you this, because I get it all the time, right? Just few days ago, we assisted some students who needed help at the University of Nimba University, and then we shared that on our platform. I was reading through the comment. There was a young kid there who came and said, this donation is politically driven, right? It's a political donation, right? Forgetting to know that we've been doing this for since 2015. CLT is here; he can attest to it, and Junior. So we get that all the time. So that's NIMBA for you. They don't see when you're doing things; they see things differently, which is all of us rights to do so. So, in short, what's your plan for NIMBA? Do you have any plans for NIMBA as far as serving our county, our great county, as you're doing now, or anything that people should know about?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a very fair question. As a matter of fact, people have been asking me this question since 2016
Oh,
when I
wow.
was the chapter president in Texas. Because when I was the chapter president in Texas, every year we will pick a school from Upper Lima and then pick one from Lower Lima, and we'll send them school supplies. And we'll continue to do that. And each time there was this stem that we had. It will have like at that time we were the Lima County Association of Greater Houston, and then President Isaac Cato, and we will stamp that in each of the notebooks. So people started seeing like, who is this Isaac Cato guy? And it was both in Upper Lima and Lower Lima. So people started seeing that, and they automatically assumed I was doing this for like a political office.
Right.
And this was since 2016. Of course, at that time, I was not even, I was just at a local level. This was before President Jan Doki even brought the Texas chapter to be part of UNICO. This was before he even did that. And then when I formed this when I formed this foundation, which is named after my parents, and we started doing scholarships, and now we have people from UNICO, as a matter of fact, who give to that scholarship on like a yearly basis. George Flomo is actually one of them who does that, who donates through my foundation every year. And we have quite a few members that do that. That is why last year during a campaign, when people try to make issue out of that, it was just really like a funny thing, because there was nowhere to go with that. But every year we do that. And as a matter of fact, I just came back from doing that in March. I just came from doing that again, and we sponsor all these soccer events, and we give like people loans. We give people a grant so they can start business and all of that. So whenever we do that, people automatically assume somebody can be spending all this money for free. There has to be an ulterior motive. There has to be something behind this. Who does that? So that has always been the mindset since 2016. But right now, I'm just doing this to honor my parents. I'm just doing this to be of help to the people back home. Wherever it leads to that. But I'm not even thinking about that, because if that's the case, then I would have been running since 2016, because that's what I've been accused of for like the last 10 years. Yet I continue to do this, and they'd never see my name on the ballot. And last year in 2025, as a matter of fact, that was one of the attack that I was receiving, that, he's only doing this to go use this as a platform to run, as if to say what else I was doing those previous 7 years were not visible enough that we had to do this. But to answer your question right now, CEO, the goal and the aim right now is just to help our people. There's no ulterior motive. There's nothing behind it. If something comes out of it, so be it. But that is not the goal.
Yeah, thank you. That is not the goal. But whatever happens, happens. Whatever God leads you, you go there. But thank you so much. You've answered all my questions, and I really appreciate that. And that shouldn't deter you. You're a politician. You know that better than I do. So that shouldn't deter you. Like I said, when I started mine in 2015, it was the same thing. And every day I get that all the time. But guess what? When I go to my people and I do what I'm supposed to do every day. And you know what? The folks who actually benefit from it don't ask the question. The people who actually need it don't ask those questions. The folks who ask those questions are the ones who sit on the side and want to be critical, but they're not doing anything for the folks, right? So the old lady. I'll give you this story before I turn it over to the guys there. I think I mentioned this story sometime a few weeks back. So I was on my way to Nimba during one of my many visits there, and we stopped in Ban, where we were having a conversation. And my boys and I were having a conversation. We saw this kid who was standing by, and he was just waiting. And we were trying to figure out why he was waiting. He was waiting to talk to me. And later on, we gave him the opportunity to come and talk. And he came, he said, Mr. Sekar, I just want to say thank you so much for the work that you do. We want to say thanks to your organization for the scholarship. My parents didn't have money to send me to school. I went there, but then I got stuck. I was on my way back to the village when your scholarship came in right in time and stepped in. Now I have graduated. Now I'm giving back to the society. I'm a teacher, and he called the town name and stuff. So the real beneficiaries do benefit from it, and they do appreciate that. But then, like I said, you have few folks there who always be critical of you because of whatever motive they have. So hats off to you. I encourage you to continue to do what you're doing. May God continue to bless you and provide for you as you give back to our people.
Oh, thank you, CEO. I definitely appreciate that. And I know for us that do this on charity stuff, we all have similar stories like that. When we go and like some old lady has been waiting to like greet us for like the last 2 hours before she goes on a farm. Things like that. I mean, those things are priceless.
Right.
And that is, I mean, we don't do it for that, but I mean, just little common things like that. They like go a long way. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you for what you do, and thank you guys for what you guys keep doing for our people. 25 minutes past 11 o'clock in Rwanda, East Africa. 25 minutes past 9 o'clock in Liberia. Still on the heat tower here tonight. We have Mr. Mr. Isaac Kato Jr. Isaac Kato Jr. is the chairman of UNICO. He's here tonight for us to discuss UNICO matters. I know we'll default a little bit. We'll go back to some other issue in the country that he might have his opinion on them. But sticking to UNICO for now. If you want to call us, you can call on +25079542897 and make your import to the show here this evening. Again, +25079542897 is the number to put you through here tonight on the show. Better still, +13474626662. You can call us on those both numbers. We have Chairman Kato with us here tonight, and the conversation is actually interesting. Siawete, over to you now in the second round, Chief.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. Chairman, thank you very much for all of those answers.
No more political pressure for my chairman, please.
No.
When you catch it, man, Iowa, you should take care of it.
The man try to trick me into an endorsement.
Aze, he comes from a very unique family in Swatuo. As a matter of fact, we have not met in person, but his cousin or a brother, like we say, Bob.
Yeah.
Bob is a long-term friend to me, over 15 plus years now, and we have a very good relationship. So, when you won the election, personally, I even, wrote you and congratulated you. So, yes, all of these questions are meant, for the public.
Oh, yes.
For people to know what the work you guys do, because this platform go far beyond just the Facebook. So I think this question I'm about to ask is not just unique to you. Previous leaders have come, we have asked them, they have given their view, but I want to know you, like you said, your tenure will be ending in 2031. Is that correct? I wanted to know from the financial side, everything we do, like the organization now, I think is taking another shift. Is not as, compared to previous years with the modernization and all of what is now comparing with UNICO. I wanted to know the strategy, the long-term financial sustainability, beyond just the normal due paying. What strategy has the council or the board, you people who are the policy arm, put in place, just beyond the normal due collection within UNICO?
Well, absolutely. And that is a very, very good question. That's a very good question, Siawete. That's a very good question. As a matter of fact, that is why during a campaign, I promised that that if elected, that one of the first thing I'm going to do will to be to work to make sure that UNICO gets its first grant. Because for us to really, really go, I mean, yes, the membership is growing, and as the membership grows, our annual due grows, and we bring in more money. Some of the fundraising effort that the PD has been heading and so forth has brought in some money, which is a good thing. These birthdays drive, all this other stuff that we're doing, they bring in money. And of course, our election now, all our events now, I cannot really imagine a UNICO event now that is not going to bring in at least 50,000. I cannot imagine any convention, even non-election year convention. I cannot imagine any convention now that is going to bring in less than 50,000. I mean, we did it in North Dakota, we did it in Minnesota, and I'm quite confident we're going to do it again in Iowa. So going forward, I don't see any single event that we hold as that is a national event, especially like a convention, that is not going to bring in a substantial amount. And again, if you go back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, talking about bringing in 50, 60, 95 or 93,000 for one election, for one convention, that would be unheard of. But now those are becoming commonplace. The financial stuff that we just went through, that we just reviewed as a board, I think it was almost 325 or 343,000. That's the kind of money that we are dealing with now. So we are dealing with, with like a substantial amount. And that is
current bank balance.
No, that's not the current bank balance. That was how much has been brought in for like the last 3 years, because we audited. We did a forensic review of our books from 2022 to 2020 to 2025. That was how much we were operating in. That's what that's what our figure is coming from. But no, that is not our current bank balance. No, absolutely not. So let me not say that, or let me not leave anybody to come from here and say, oh, UNICO had 343,000 in their bank account. No, that is not what I'm saying at all. so let's just make that clear, because I don't want to start something here that next thing you know, the chairman said, oh, we've been eating 343,000. Absolutely not. That is not what I'm saying. So our people shouldn't run with that. But I'm just saying that was how much we were dealing with for the last 3 years, and that's what the report shows. But to answer your question, we now, for the first time in UNICO's history, have a grant committee. And that was set up by the board. And that is actually being chaired by the vice chair. And that committee now is working, generating ideas, working with different people to bring in ideas. What can we do to generate funds for this organization besides the regular dues, besides waiting to go to convention to like getting money? What can we do? Because we are now talking about getting close to 1,000 people that pay their dues. That puts us in a ballpark to where we could take our bank statement, we could take our taxes to nonprofit organizations and show it to them that we are, in fact, we are a nonprofit. We have all that documents, but that we are, in fact, being good stewards of this, and they can entrust us with more. So we have the grant committee that I appointed to keep a promise. Well, not just to keep a promise, but that I appointed because the need for that exists, and the need for that is important. That is going to help now to generate more funds. And then their task too, we're not just going to financial institution or to nonprofits or to other grant writing institutions to get funds, but to then tap or liaison to see if there are other organizations out there that maybe we could partner with and do something together to help generate funds. Because we are thinking about a lot of things right now that will helping bring funds besides our regular $100 every year, or the little that we're pitching for birthdays and all this other stuff we do, which are important. Please don't get me wrong. But what else can we do for us to start dealing with maybe millions? That's the vision that we have. And I believe you were the one that asked me that question earlier. What is my vision when my time here is done? Those are some of the visions.
Yeah, let me jump in there. No, I asked that question. That man has been asking political question. I'm the one who asked. No, so I want to make something clear here, or I want you to make something clear here. So the president was here the last time. I think I mentioned that to you, and I asked him specifically about this grant writing thing. And I asked him what are some mechanisms put in place to raise funds. Have you guys looked into the grant writing? He and George, both of them, they give the same answer. You know, in America, when you write grant, you have to be able to. In the U.S., you have to be able to do the work for it here in the U.S. And then, you know, all that stuff, right? He gave that excuse. Now, you're saying that you, as the board chair, appointed a grant team or grant writing team, something to that effect. So is there a disconnect between the board and the president, the executive leadership? What's the disconnect there? Because grant writing message, the message that you just conveyed, it should go across the board, right? So the president should know about what the board is doing. So, and I have the record here. So he give the same answer as George, right? You know, in the U.S., when you write grant, you got to be able to do the work for it. So we've been struggling to that effect on that side. But your answer is completely different, and that's what I was thinking, because I do run a non-for-profit organization myself, and grant writing shouldn't be, you know, that difficult. It shouldn't be, you know, that stringent. There are international grants that you write for. There are some. You can be a 501c3 organization here, and still. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have to hold you there because we're having calls coming in. So let's take this president. We come back to you. I'm really sorry for this.
Okay, but if I could, okay. So let me just answer the CEO question real quick in 30 seconds. No, there is not a disconnect there at all, Chief. What I'm trying to say is I appointed this grant committee and made it their task to go ahead. Just don't take what people are saying. I want you to investigate this, because I am too of the knowledge that there are international grants. Right. Let's go out there and go after those. Listen to what everybody have to say, but I really want to see the meat and potato of this, because you do have, like you said, you do have international grants that are given abroad. So that's the task that I want that committee, that I've charged them to go ahead and look into that and then report to the body.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Go ahead with your call, Mr. Caller. Who called that, Vengon?
No, somebody called from Liberia, but I think they dropped the line. So,
okay. Yeah, so they can call back. If they're listening to us, you can call us back and we'll let you in. That question was very important, so the chairman had to answer.
Okay. Thank you. If you are just joining the conversation tonight, you are listening to the Heat Tower program on BKS TV. On the Heat Tower, we say dialogue and not confrontation. We say words and not bullets. In tonight's edition of the show, we are hosting Mr. Isaac Kato. Isaac Kato is the chairman of UNICO. He joined us here tonight on the show as we discuss UNICO and its upcoming convention in Iowa, the United States of America. I think we have this person. Good evening. Oops. Okay. Now, CEO can get back to you. If you have questions, you can ask. If none, we go to...
Sorry.
Yeah, Chairman, thank you for those answer. You know, the CEO said the first one was political. You know, we have to shake you small. You are political man, so once you come on this platform, you know, when CEO asks you about you going home, I think, you know, as far back, when we look at the history of UNICO, I think it's one of the stepping stones for most successful, you know, Liberian that live in the diaspora. And I don't think you'll be on the wrong path when you even have all the ambition to contest in the future. So for me, I'm a politician. I'm very blunt about that. But what I wanted us to dive into a little bit is this issue of the investment in Liberia. You know, people hear the investment.
Good evening. Sorry, Saudi, I think we have this caller. Good evening.
Yeah, I'm Shadrach Yomi. Once again, I'm calling from Liberia.
Shadrach, welcome to the show. Let's hear you, Chief.
Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you to the speaker guest, Honorable Kato, the board chairman. I have been following him, and he's also my uncle. I've been following him all the time. So I want to say thanks to Mr. Kato. And I also want to know, when it comes to my question, the UNICO Liberia chapter, what role do they play when it comes to selecting board members in the United States, which oppose the United States UNICO board is also overseeing all of the UNICOs around the world. So I want to know when it comes to their decision making in electing board members, I want to know their position too as well.
Thank you. Wait, do you guys have Unico board in Liberia, Chairman?
No, we don't, and that's something I just want to add on to that. And Shadrach, thanks for the call. No, we currently do not have a UNICO chapter in Liberia. We do have a country representative in the person of Joe Dodo, and Mr. Joseph Dodo is our country representative there. And then we do have a Liberian queen, and those two are like the face for the organization on the ground. And they go around, you know, whenever there are things for us to do. Sometimes we make like donations to like people that are, you know, that are going through like unfortunate situations, and they're the one that presents those funds on behalf of the organization. But we currently do not have a chapter in Liberia to say this is the UNICO. This is the UNICO Liberia chapter. We currently do not have that yet. And as a matter of fact, Shadrach is not the first person to bring that up. We have had people, including board members, who have brought up the idea, how come we don't have a chapter in Liberia? But that, of course, that is not a decision for me to make as the chairman. That will have to be a decision, something that will have to be contemplated by the general body at a convention, whether or not we should establish, like a chapter in Liberia. And if we were to establish a chapter in Liberia, then of course that chapter, as with all chapters, will be eligible to host convention, will be eligible to like send in board members to participate. But right now we do not have that. And if one were to come about, it will have to be a decision by the general body. But we're just not there yet. But it is definitely something for us to think about, because Mr. Yomi is not the first person to like raise that point.
Yeah, Gian, I can flow, right?
Yeah, go ahead, Chief.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Chairman. So my question was about this investment in Liberia, and I know the investment in Liberia, the portfolio is very huge. I think, if I'm not getting it wrong, it should be in the neighborhood of 300 and some more thousand. So I'm very concerned about this capital investment, the developmental impact, and what the organization as a council from this development, what's the impact and what's the return that the organization hope to achieve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, as you are aware, CIO, this is an initiative that actually started before us. I think President Martin Dollier I believe this idea may have came about during his term in office. He may have been the one who started this, and then President Jan Doki worked on it, and so did President Don Dennis, and now President Sam G. And of course, the next president that's going to come after Sam G is going to work and see this through like his fruition. So this has been a program. It's been our signature program that has been going back for like a few years. And this is actually a good thing. I'll say it's a great thing for this organization, and for this organization to have a signature project back home that we could attach our name to. And I just visited, you could say about 6 weeks ago. It is really, really getting to a very good place. I think this is an organization, whenever you go back, this is a project. It's a project. Whenever you go back home, you'll see it. You'll say, yes, this is something that represents us as an organization. And some of the programs that we plan to have in there, as far as things that will empower women in all these different trades, these different vocations, that will empower them to get jobs and so afterwards. I think that would be a good thing. So once we finish with the Women Empowerment Center, then it will then switch to the Women Empowerment Program, and those are the services that are going to be provided in there. And that is where the partnership comes into play, and that is something that the executive is working on to present to the board, and then through the board to like the general body. So there's already a team that is set up to work on these things. So this is we're not just going to build a building that says, oh, here's a building, now what? There's actually a program. There are things meant to be in there to help empower people, so that people can go in there. Maybe they learn how to sew. Maybe they learn how to lay bricks. They learn how to do plumbing or whatever it is that they could do to empower.
Thank you.
These are the things that we come back home.
We have this person on the line. Good evening.
William, this is Rick Pan Ian Bank.
Rick Van Gogh. Welcome. How you doing, Chief?
Doing pretty well this afternoon. Pretty cool to my side.
Great. Let's hear you.
Well, I want to say thanks to the chairman for the brilliant deliberation, but I have a few questions for the chairman. Mr. Chairman, one of my questions has to do with the trip to Liberia. You said the trip was a personal trip and you did have your board member informed. But in the chat room, your board secretary was the one who raised the alarm, posting your picture and asking questions and asking you why that decision was taken. Now you told us here that you told your Secretary General to take over. Now, he was the one who raised the issue. How do you reconcile the two statements?
Thank you.
Absolutely, Mr. President, and that's a very fair question. As a matter of fact, as you know, you have two board representatives and a national vice chair that who comes from your chapter, so you could confirm the veracity of the statement that I just made earlier and that I'm going to make again. Yes, I did notify my board, because that's the right thing to do whenever I travel for like a period of time. I did notify my board. And as a matter of fact, as we speak, that notice is still in there. And then again, there's nothing in the Constitution that says I have to do that. But you will just agree that to run a proper organization, it's important that communication flows. So yes, my board is 100% aware of the fact that I was going to Liberia, and the fact that whenever I leave, it is the vice chair who takes over to conduct meetings and so forth. But she has actually gone in Liberia 2 weeks before I did, and she was going to be there longer than me. So she wasn't available to take over, and that's where I appointed the Secretary General to do that. And I did see his statement in that board. In the Palava Hut, and upon seeing that statement, I called him. I'm like, what is this statement is about? What are you doing? And he and I did have that conversation. As a matter of fact, I think he was actually online earlier, and he was listening to this conversation. And so if he's online, he could come on now and we could speak about it. But we did have that conversation, and he made it clear to me, Mr. Chairman, this is not about your trip that I'm aware of. This is about the fact that I didn't see anything about the president notifying us that he was traveling to Liberia. So that was the distinction that was made to me when I asked him what that was the case. But he said he just put that message out there because we were there as a group, or we were out there as Unico. So he was addressing Unico, even though he was aware of my statement. Where I took issue with him was, then why didn't you distinguish the two?
Right.
If your issue was with the executive, why didn't you distinguish that? Because it leaves the impression that you were not aware of my trip, even though I left you in charge of that. So that was the conversation he and I had. But of course, I'm not going to come into the Palava Hut and blast my secretary. But that was the conversation that we had, and everything was well.
Do we still have him online?
No, I think he dropped. Thank you so much. We will. I think Sawate was in flight with his question, or the chairman was responding to Sawate's question. Maybe if you conclude with the response, then we go to Chris, the Tapata ambassador, to ask you one question. Then we come back to you for your parting comment.
Okay.
Sawate, you have a question there?
You muted, Tata.
All right. In Liberia, in the common Liberian tone, we say that be man. Okay. Somebody calling?
Bluetooth mode.
Okay.
For me,
The Bluetooth devices.
Yeah, so you guys need to bear with me. Good evening.
no problem.
Yeah,
Rick.
thank God.
Great.
I was listening, and then That's I had two questions for the chairman.
I know, but Mr. President, did you hear my answer to the first one?
Yeah, the first one, Mr. Chairman, you said you and your secretary discussed that behind closed door, but why he wrote in the chat room, he did not go back to retract his statement to make us to know that indeed he was aware of your goal. So as far as I'm concerned, your secretary was not in the know, though you said you guys discussed it behind closed door.
Right.
Here's my next question.
No, but this is what I'm saying now. This is what I'm saying now.
Do you think it was right for the president to leave the organization, as your secretary stated, without having the organization informed, as he said that the trip to Liberia was canceled?
Thank you. Listen to your answer, Chief. Thank you for calling.
All right. Thank you for that, Mr. President. And just to clarify again, yes, that was the issue that I had with the secretary, because when he brought that up, he did not make that distinction. And just like I told you, you could have your board members.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm listening to the call drop.
Okay. No.
Wait, you have to drop the line. Listen, not you can't be on the line because other people have to call. Thank you. Okay.
Right. And as I was saying, Mr. President, yeah, my issue with that is, and like where we had that conversation was, and I also had this conversation with another board member who kind of opined on the same thing, was you guys knew about my statement, and you guys, and as a matter of fact, the statement is still there from March. You could have your board members go back, Mr. President, and retrieve that statement. And you could even have them where they were saying, safe trip, Mr. Chairman, safe trip, Mr. Chairman, and so forth. And then again, this is very important. Even though there's not a requirement to do that, I'd always do that to make sure we keep that line of communication open, because I think it is important to do so. So the only issue I had with him was when he brought that issue up, he did not make the distinction. And I said that earlier, so I will like say it again. And of course, all the evidence is in our board chat room, and I will authorize your board representative to go in there and get a copy of that statement and show it to you with all the responses that follow, including one from the Secretary General, by the way. So that is all in there. But to answer your question now, whether or not the president was in the right to not notify the organization, I would say that is a question that is better for the president. But I think it is fair for people to raise that. Why didn't the president notify the organization that he was going to Liberia? He has always done that in the past. I'm not sure why this was not done this time. And I have had a conversation with him. So going forward, I assure you it's not going to happen again. But that was the case that happened there. But all the other stuff that was alleged we were doing just simply weren't true. But the notification aspect of it is important, and I think that's a fair question.
Thank you so much. So, Celtic, my man, we gotta let our guests go now. So,
Chairman, see you. Wow, we done?
No, you not ask. You keep asking questions.
Well, I'm actually enjoying this, though.
No, I just wanted to ask the chairman one last question. This man, that secretary or Unico, what question you want to ask here? Chris, we are just mere member. We not even good register member. Sir.
Go ahead, Chief.
Yeah, so I think my last question, Chairman, will be, firstly, I will firstly want to appreciate you again for the project back home. But most time when we are doing this project, it's not just unique to only Unico, but organization projects, your name, your reputation, all is at stake, because we know our community, whether back home or here. I wanted to know the risks and the uncertainty, the risks and the uncertainty, surrounding these projects that are back home. The first thing I want you to conclude on here is the issue of the project. Is there any contingency reserve, to manage, economic stock or funding gap? Because sometimes these projects, people give, the budget at times, if it don't reach the milestone, it becomes a problem. That's one. So I wanted to know how they both factor in financial risks and uncertainty within this project. That will be my final question to you.
Okay. And that's a very fair question. That's a very fair question. And as you know, I'm sure you have done projects back home before, especially when it comes to construction. There are always unforeseen issues. There are always, you have your budget, you start to build, you start to do bridge, you start to do this, and then things come about that were not part of your design, so forth and whatnot. And this is not unique to this project. That has happened. As a matter of fact, when we took over, and by we, I mean that when I came on the board in 2022, and we started with phase 2, one of the first things that was done was the fact that the current foundation that was there at that time, they had to redo some aspect of it. And these were not things that you account for when you put your budget in place. Sometimes you have to go back and do things maybe once or twice. Of course, we calculate for that. And that is why whenever budgets are brought up front, there's always a miscellaneous aspect of it, or there's always like a contingent. And that could be 10% or so forth and whatnot. And those aspects are always in there. But as an organization that operates on recurring revenue or like funds that are coming in, we just don't give out this money one at a time. And I think that was one of the miscommunication or misunderstanding that came about in October when we were reviewing phase 4 of the budget. People thought that because the budget was for 121,000 or 115,000, that we were going to go ahead and write a check for 115,000 and send it to Liberia right away. Of course, that is not how it works. You approve the budget and then you deal with what you have at a time. And when we approve the budget, we approve it in stages. In other words, stage 1 would be to do the windows or whatever. And if stage 1 gets done and it's inspected and accepted, then we go to stage 2. What approving the budget does is it allows the organization to operate without having to come back repeatedly every 2 months. So you approve these budget in phases, but that's not to say we're going to write a check for 115,000 and send it out. I'm like to somebody in Liberia to like, so they could have it like in their pocket. And that is not how things operate. And that is now, and we will never write a check, certainly not while I'm chairman, for 115,000 to send at one time. The funds are sending increments as they are. I mean, if once this phase gets done, then that phase gets inspected and it gets paid for, they will move to the next one. But the budget is approved overall to allow the team to work with that, because you cannot have a team coming back every 2 weeks to get a budget approved. I mean, it is counterproductive at that point because you spend all your time talking about stuff instead of working. So that's why that budget was approved, and it was completely clear. We came and we had a General Assembly meeting where all of these questions were answered. And if people are fair-minded, they will believe that this board is really trying hard to be as transparent as we can be. That is why after every board meeting, we send out an executive summary, which just reminds me, because I need to finish this executive summary from our previous board meeting so I can share that with you guys. But that's why we send out an executive summary so you guys see what is happening, that there's nothing done behind closed door. This is not a Zobush. Everything we do comes out there for people to see. So it is open book and it is all out there, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. I hope this election, you people will provide a space, for the NEMA people to listen to all of the contestants, because it's very important. So we hope you people will provide an avenue so that we can listen to all the people that are going to the election.
Oh yes, as a matter of fact, we just met with the Elections Commission, and they sent us their budget. I mean, like talking about budget. We just got a budget from the Elections Commission, and one of the things we had a discussion about is we have to allow people time for a debate, and that is going to absolutely happen. And I hope you guys are there to cover it, to show to our people, because they are interested in hearing about this debate, and there will be a debate for people to ask their candidates questions. Absolutely, that's going to happen.
Thank you so much. You're muted.
Well, what is it, Chairman?
You are talking to us. So
no. Well, sir, sorry.
So we will go to the top of the ambassador. My man, we're giving you 1 minute, 1 minute only to ask your question. And if you don't have a question, you want to make statement, we keep you at the back. We go to our guests when you leave. We stay in
yeah, the guy becoming.
Two minutes and fast questions. But yet, whatever is a good show. Let me say, Chairman Kato, welcome to the show. Let me say good evening. I've been listening. There are a few concerns that came, and that few concern the CEO raised that when the president appeared here, but he treated Liberia, and he said it was a personal trip. And I think if somebody personal to Liberia, I don't think you need the bull to be aware because even when uniquely is different, but whenever the president appears somewhere, even the boat chair appears somewhere, whenever unique thing appears, it's out of function. So I don't think it's a crime for it, as people will try to perceive out there. Let me say thank you. Let me use this time to thank you on behalf of our organization where I went up at our program. I said thank you there for your pledge. We'll soon be getting to your own day.
Man, you call
Thank you so much.
Behind the scene to ask the question.
No, so my question would be like, you've been part of UNICO for a very long time now. You saw some leaders who serve the organization when it comes to projects or other stuff. And you've been with the current president for the past, I think, 4 years now. They've been very close. I may ask you, your time in UNICO in the past 4 years now, and the years before Senji, when UNICO was at that time, if you want to do maybe a survey to give the audience a broad perspective, where UNICO came from, the past 10 years before Senji came to power, how will you grade this administration as a board chair? Thank you.
Man, trying to lead you to.
I think he and CRT have been comparing notes. I think they've been comparing notes.
When I go a lot, that
let me just answer your question this way, Mr. Ambassador. Let me answer your question this way. You're right. I've been part of UNICO since 2016. As a matter of fact, this is my 10-year anniversary. Back then, I was in Texas as the president of what was then the Nima County Association of Greater Houston, which later on became the UNICO Texas chapter. Yes, and through that time, it was actually President Doki who brought me in. And I thought, and I believe he was a very effective president. And I still stand by that. And I respect him dearly. President Don Dennis was a very effective president, and he did what he had to do. And in that same light, speaking for me and me alone, I believe Sam G has been a very effective president. So I'm not going to compare and contrast. I'm just going to say the fact that both of these, that all three men were re-elected, sometimes without any competition, speaks volume to the work that they were doing. So that's all I will say about that aspect. But this organization and government, if you want to look at it from that standpoint, is a continuation. So the next administration that's going to come in play, they will be judged by what they do. But I think Sam G and his immediate two predecessors, I believe they have been very effective president, and they have served this organization well. And like Sam Recker will be there for everyone to judge and make their own conclusion, because the records are there, and all records speaks for themselves.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah. So Chairman, CEO. So if we come to grading from 1 to 10,
Chris, I beg you, they don't answer the question. The people are doing pretty well.
Chris, the ambassador. That's my man. That's my ambassador.
You want to ask question?
No, you want them to rate 1 to 10. They both want to be political, but he doesn't want to come straight. You see,
ask your last question. Yeah. I think the chairman got problem with that. Chris,
let the man answer his question. That's my man. That's my type of district man. He answer. He has his question.
They come into you. Don't put in the trouble. Don't put in the trouble. Yeah, the reason I'm bringing this question is, I know you answer those questions, but I'm looking at maybe the grading maybe from 1 to 10. Let's leave those dealers, there's a Doki or Dan Dennis. Senji, From 1 to 10, what would be the
No,
percentage?
he said he can't do that. He said he can't do that. He already gave you the answer the way he's
Chris,
supposed to answer. You can't.
the chairman said in his position
You can't do that.
right now. He can't do that.
So, but ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you so much for coming on here to my brother, chairman. Thank you so much. This is actually a really good thing to do. Having the board chair coming down to his people and using this platform to communicate with his people. Where like I can always say, "Oh my Ingbo, please listening to you." We never had this before, right? It used to be Unico, and then we'll see pictures. Right, Unico will see pictures. Now we are changing the dynamics. Things are changing now. Things are evolving positively, where we have our own Nimba platform now, and people, Nimbaians love Nimba stuff, right? They listen to it now. They'll be glued to this, and from now to the election or the convention, we will be featuring a lot of you guys on here, and we hope to have you again, even before the convention, to talk about progress and status updates on things that are happening. I personally want to, on behalf of this platform, convey our thanks and appreciation to you for all the work that you are doing. Very professionally done. You are well spoken. You remind me of Obama. I mean, this is not political, but just your demeanor, everything just like him. And I want to encourage you to continue doing what you're doing. We are here for Unico is our organization, regardless of what happened, the disagreement, any institution or organization, you have that. But keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job, and I wish you all the best. 2028, we'll revisit that before we talk about the 2020. But it has been a great show tonight. I can tell from the comment section, we have a lot of folks are following, interacting with you. They want to call in, but even though we don't have enough time, but next time we'll open the line so you can get more acquainted with this and have our people speak to you and take more calls and have things going. But it has been a wonderful show. One of my best shows so far. We started out personally with our experiences and how we came from Liberia, how we got here, and then to your leadership and to where you are going and where you are headed. So I want to say thank you so much. I think Junior was going to ask you to give your parting comment there, but I just wanted to come in and say thank you so much for coming. We look forward to having you in here again, as I said to you during our phone calls. Don't be a stranger.
Right, and I'm not sure if Junior have a question or if I should wrap up now.
No, I think you should wrap up now. Yeah.
Wrap up? Okay. Well, of course, thank you, CEO. I definitely appreciate it. I appreciate the invitation. Yeah, I mean, it's been 2 hours, but it's actually been fun. I've actually enjoyed it. And it's good to be here to talk about the organization, to talk about some of the stuff that we are doing back there. I mean, this organization is growing. I firmly believe, and the evidence is out there to support this, that we are one of the strongest, if not the strongest, diaspora organization that is operating right now from Liberia, or that is Liberian based, or maybe U.S. based, but with a Liberia focus. I really truly believe in that, and that just speaks volume to the fact that we have so many members now that are joined, and the fact that people are interested in leading this organization. Nobody want to be associated with an organization that is not going anywhere. The fact that so many people are associated with this and fighting for this leadership to lead this organization so they could come and share their vision with us, I think it is a good thing, and it speaks volume. And I'm very proud to be the chairman, to be serving in this capacity. I consider it to be an honor, and just doing this job, even with all the back and forth, it's fun. Honestly, sometimes it's fun for me when people are saying all of these things, and I get up and I get tagged in 15 different things. I'm like, hey, what have I done today? And then I start reading that, but it is fun. It is fun, and and we are getting things done for people, so that's all that matters. And again, thanks for allowing me to appear on your platform, and all your guests have been very courteous and very respectful, and I do appreciate that. And I look forward to joining you the next time I'm invited.
Thank you. Thank you so much, brother. See you. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
So let's go back to Chris, my friend, brother, my very good friend. Chris, now won't be political in Unico team, but he won't ask political question, which I don't know why he keep on doing that.
But Chris, why are people referring to you as incoming vice president of Unico North Dakota chapter? Are you contesting or automatic promotion?
A Senate clause.
Oh, okay. The man last
So
one.
now,
No,
Chris,
I think yeah, you answered the question already. After our president resigned, the VP now who's the president took over, and I was the secretary. I think I will go to that position. That's what they're saying. That, but it's a good thing.
You
Yeah.
think you think you're not thinking?
The General Assembly will do the final decision, or maybe this coming Saturday.
Politician. Why you leave people see the good that you see, alright? All right. Chief, go ahead, Chief. I know I like messing with you.
Yeah, I
so
said, Gio.
I'm trying to get some facts together with this new banknote printing, but I think we can discuss that tomorrow.
We'll discuss it tomorrow.
Yeah, what we do know is that the government of Liberia is anticipating of printing 79 billion Liberian dollars. And another new development is that there will be $2,000 note. Now, bear in mind, since the creation or the establishment of Liberia, the highest printing was done in 2021 when the government of Liberia printed 41 billion. And that 41 billion was done in 2021. But this time around, the government is asking the both houses, the House of Representatives and the House of Senate, that they want to print 79 billion. And that 79 billion, 14.7 billion will be printed this year, 2026. And the remaining 64.3 billion will be printed in the following years to come. So that's between 2026 and let's say 2027 and that of 2030, according to them. Now, what this means to the Liberian people, will it change the economy? Will the minimum wage increase? Will government be paying its folks on time? These are all questions we're going to be here tomorrow to answer to the Liberian people. Thankfully, the CEO is a financial person. CIWT too is also a financial person. They will be teaching us here tomorrow on the show what it means for the Liberian people. Will we have good network connectivity across the country? Are we going to have good roads connectivity across the country, safe drinking waters, better health care, quality education? All of these things will be enshrined in the conversation tomorrow on the Heat Hour. On Sunday, we are going to have one of the fascinating discussions here on the show as we host for the first time politicians from NIMBA on the conversation as to whether Nibanians should put their eggs in one basket. That's a electoral term, not really like an egg, but politically, should we support one person? We will have different sizes of the story. We're going to have Senator Samuel Koga, who will be standing in the middle. He might be speaking for the other side, also speaking for the other side. And then we will have Musa Hassan Bility. He is saying no to the motion, that no, we don't need to put our eggs in one basket. We need to diversify it and let the number game win. We're also going to have Councillor Garrison Dode Yelu on the same team as Honorable Musa Hassan Bility. And then we're going to have Honorable Doug Cooper. Doug Cooper will be saying, let's put our eggs in one basket. We don't need, we've come very far. It is our first time to reach the vice presidency. We are closer to the throne. We need to protect it. He will be supporting that side too as well. And we're going to have Honorable Alexander A. Swa Sr. He will also be supporting the side that Honorable Doug Cooper is on. Let's protect what we have right now. Let's protect it. And let's not diversify. Let's stay together as one. And then we can get the presidency, maybe 2029 or anytime soon we can get them. And hopefully we might have T. Wunake. T. Wunake, we've not confirmed yet whether or not he will be taking either of those sides, but I'm pretty sure that he will be supporting the side that we should put our eggs in one basket. It's been a wonderful conversation here tonight. The conversation on Sunday will be great. We're going to open the lines for people to call and ask their lawmakers why are they supporting XYZ motion. And panelists too might be given a chance to, but the show will not be about us, it will be about them making their arguments so that we listen to them. And then from there, we appear on the show to make our analysis and our new short thing we do want to show here. Let's go over to you now, CEO. Let's hear your analysis and your parting comment of today's show. After you, we go to
my brother did well.
And then Tabitha.
Sorry for cutting you off there. My brother did well. Isaac did well. I really admire his presentation. He spoke eloquently, and he did what leaders are supposed to do. So we hope to have him again in the future. Sunday is going to be a D-Day. It's like a derby. You know, we got most of the Nima or some of the Nima political giants that will be sharing the platform together. BKS TV will be carrying this live, and we'll be working with other community radio stations in Nimba to simulcast this as well. So it's going to be a great show. Nimba Unity. That's a saying, a slogan that has been in the corridor, and we will have these major players on here, discussing it. So all brothers coming together to have a really good discussion. So we look forward to having it, and we invite everyone to be part of it that day. Stay tuned, and we'll open the line, as Gino said, to take calls from our callers when it comes to participation. But I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see what it's going to look like and what we will be having here. But that's good. And my last thing, Chelsea donated another 3 sets of goals tonight. They never disappoint. 3 every time they go, they get 3. Yeah, every team they play, they give 3, and then they be there. They be rooting for Arsenal to now win. Arsenal way up there. You way down here fighting relegation, but then instead you pushing for Arsenal to lose. But it has been a great show, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow.
Thank you. Tabitha Ambassador, the incoming representative of Electoral District 6, Nima County. Let's hear you, Chief.
You saw the new district that they proposed to add to the district, so it might not be district 6, it could be district something else. So
we politically saw that thing because Richard Kun is running away from countrymen, so we saw that thing. But is that a news for some of us?
Ambassador, before you finish, here is the way the conversation is going to be interesting tomorrow. We'll bring up this debate because we're hearing that only 3 seats is allocated to Nima. I think 3 or 2.
2, not 2.
No, 2 seats. Only 2 seats. Now, we have our men in the house there. We don't know their stance. We don't know what they are saying. They are just sitting there observing. But we will discuss on the show here tomorrow. Tabitha Ambassador, go ahead, Chief.
Thank you. Tomorrow we'll talk much about that general particular thing. We know we'll be here because we're just scared. But it's a good thing as it's a very young man from Nimba. That's why we supported for the board position today, and we're proud of him. He's an eloquent young person that has loved Nimba County. So our finding from where he presented well, Sarity asked all those tough questions that we're supposed to ask, and I believe that he answered tagly not all. But again, Unico is all that we have as sons and daughters of Nimba. So I will encourage everyone else there again that to be part of Unico. As I said tonight, when we were back home, like my brother said, I went to the students community, so I will help a Unico. That's about maybe 9 years ago, 10 years ago, in the student community, and we have a Unico. And we came today to be part of Unico. I think it's an opportunity for some of us. The stage, as it out right now, maybe the next 10 years will not be there. Another generation will be there. So again, I encourage our young people, our assemblies, whenever they come to America, let them be part of Unico. It was a great show tonight, and thank you, CEO, for continuing to come to the show. Let them continue to push and make Nima County to be aware of this organization, because some people just have a Unico, they know the function of Unico in America. Some people think that it's only a social group. That people just go to a party or marry me. People don't know what the impact is doing. So again, thank you for bringing it on. And it was a good show tonight. And thank you, my dear brother, of course, sometimes on political issues we don't agree with tonight. I agree with most of the questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sarity, take us home.
You say you don't agree with it, man. Sometimes you agree, sometimes, man. Grizzle.
Yeah, John, the show was good. You know, that's what we need from people who are in leadership. And the show tonight, this evening, was powerful, I must admit. And we encourage all the leaders, whether past and present leader of UNICO, because this will also help to, you know, motivate people who are in the organization, people who are in the organization, even back home. It will also showcase the organization, the role they are playing, you know, the impact they got back home. I mean, tonight it was good. All of them that come, I think they got something that we carry home every time they appear from the organization. So one thing we want to see is to see the organization more connected to our people back home and having, you know, a tangible impact, an impactful one too, because all of what is happening at the end of the day, the essence of coming together is to do something back home. So as the appearance tonight, it was splendid. And I give it all to him. He did extremely well. And we hope to be here tomorrow. You know, as the organization grew, there are a lot of new minds, new breed of leadership. You'll see, you know, things growing and things changing. One thing I do know about NEMA organization, whether student, whether advocacy group, pressure group, and whatsoever, I think the bottleneck of all NEMA organization is what we hold together regardless of our, you know, diversification is our unity and strength and the belief we have, you know, for our country. Today, if you go to Liberia, you go to NIMBA, what you see in NIMA, you go to other countries to see one-story building, probably is for government or just a government official, but you enter Gantor, Ban, Secretary today, you see several austere building everywhere. And they ask that man, say, oh, maybe there's a guy who got his place. Probably he got a shop on the road, or that person is a motorbike dealer, or maybe riding motorbike somewhere. So I think that's unique about us as a country. And the show tonight, it always, when the people come, it gives us that sense of, you know, belonging and why it meant to have those kind of organizations. And I can say for free, from all indication now, the most powerful and proud organization, Liberian organization, county-based organization in the United States is the UNICO. I don't think even the EULA has such a huge project portfolio in Liberia. So we may have all of our disagreement as brother and sister, but what they are doing, I think, is exceptional. They just need to get out, and, you know, to people who can also get their 1 cent advice to move the organization forward. We also want to say thank you to our followers, both, you know, on the radio and on the social media. It is because of you we are here, and we want to say thank you for following every night. And even people who live from the farm come and listen to the BKS. We want to say thank you. And for us, Tapeta, we want to say thank you. Tomorrow we'll announce our guest. Hopefully we'll have a guest tomorrow. So we'll do the announcement maybe on the platform or before the show tomorrow. Thank you very much, Gian, for, you know, hosting us. The time difference is very wide, but each time you know, making all your business to keep us here, we want to say thank you too as well. And thanks to the CEO and the incoming vice president too, who, you know, is just smiling now. I think before we head to Iowa, the man will be in a very huge portfolio. So want to say congratulations to Mr. Chris City. Yeah.
Thank you.
So Chris, I want to ask you, now that
now declare his support.
So what if your chapter president lost the election? Will he come back to reclaim his position?
That will be determined by the General Assembly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You said the man resigned? What your constitution says?
He resigned. That what I'm saying, it will be determined by the General Assembly. I can say they'll say, oh,
No, no,
This
no,
or
no.
that. But what I believe, he's somebody with integrity. You will not do that. I believe
No,
so.
now we're talking about constitutional mandate. Why your constitution says? Then is it the General
Um,
Assembly, sir?
it's just spell out in the constitution to say, oh, when you resign, you can return back. It's not there. There's no provision there on that. Now what I said, the General Assembly will determine if he
So
wants to
it's
return back or
conditional.
not. But per the constitution not spell out that if you resign, you can't come back. I don't want to be a liar. It's not there. I haven't read it. I haven't seen it. Now what I said, General Assembly will determine that.
But I come out.
Thank you.
I say, give my job. Huh?
Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you, CEO. Thank you to Siawiti, and thank you to our guests for also being here. And a big shout out to all of our followers who've been listening to us via radio and also Facebook and YouTube. I want to say thank you for following. It's been a wonderful conversation here tonight. It's the 22nd of April, and have a the 21st of April. Have a pleasant good evening, good night from my end.